Today is the 29th of June 2023, and I'd like to talk about proportions. And we've been talking about fractions, and then we went on to talk about percentages. So here I really like us to look at proportions, okay? So for instance, if you are mixing cake, you need a certain amount of flour, sugar, butter, okay, and a certain amount of liquid water. So you need a recipe for that. You can't just put any quantity together. Your results will not be the same. If you are mixing like scones or bread, that also has its own proportions of flour and sugar and butter, okay? So you can't say that, oh, I can add any amount. And it's the same thing we want to have a look at here, okay? Now here I'm going to introduce you to something called the unitary method. Unitary is like it serves 6 people. So what quantity do you need to serve one? It comes from the word units. So unitary method. So like 1. So if we say that it serves 200 grams, will serve 4 people, it means 50 grams will serve 1. Okay, and if we know how many will serve 1, then we can find how many will serve 10, 20, 15, or whatever number. So this is the principle I'm going to use here. Okay, so let's start. Okay, a cake recipe serves 6. Okay, this is what it serves, and the recipe is 300 grams flour, 90 grams butter. So in addition to the other ingredients you need 300 grams flour and 90 grams butter to serve 6 people. The question is, what quantity will serve 9 people? So I'm going to use the unitary method. So I'm going to find how many grams will serve 1 person. So this is what I did. So for flour, 300 grams will serve 6. So 300 divided by 6 equals 50 will serve 1, because 50 times 6 is 300. Okay, so if 1 person is 500, it says how many will serve 9. So if 1 person 500 grams will serve 1 person, so 9 is 50 grams times 9. Okay, so I have 50 times 9, which is 450 grams of flour, will serve 9 people. That is half of the question. Normally what students do it, they get the quantity that serves 9 people for flour, and then off they go. They don't look to the second part. But they've given you flour and butter. So you've done the flour part, which is half of the marks. So now you are going to look at the butter part. So now 90 grams serves 6. So 90 grams of butter serves 6. So again, 90 divided by 6, which is 15 grams of butter, will serve 1. Okay, so to find how many is going to serve 9, 15 grams serves 1. So 15 times 9, which is 135 grams of butter, will serve 9 people. So if I'm expecting 9 people to come for an event, I'm not going to use 300 grams and 300 grams of flour and 90 grams of butter. Now, because I've done the calculation, here it is. I'm going to use 450 grams of flour and 135 grams of butter to prepare my recipe for 9 people. I hope I'm clear on that. Okay, let's look at the next example. Okay, a pizza recipe serves 3. Okay, so now 3 people, I need 150 grams of flour and 300 grams of butter for 3 people. The question is, what quantities will serve 12? So what I've been given serves 3. Now, an easy way to do this, look at 3 and look at 12. 3 times 4 is 12. So, under exam condition and with experience, I'll just multiply each of them by 4. So if I multiply 150 by 4, I'm going to get 600 grams. And if I multiply 30 by 4 again, I would get 120 grams without using the unitary method. Okay, but if I want to use the unitary method, I'm going to look at flour. So 150 divided by 3 gives me 50. Okay, it gives me 50 there. This is where we are. And this 50 grams of flour serves 1. Okay, so now 50 grams times 12, which is 600 grams, will serve 12 people. Okay, now 30 grams for butter, 30 grams divided by 3, which is 10 grams, will serve 1. So 10 times 12 was 120 grams. Again, will serve 12. So now if I want to prepare for 12 people to serve them pizza, I need 600 grams of flour and 120 grams of butter to serve 12. Okay, that is the first part. Now let's quickly look at ratio. Okay, now ratio is a very good topic. Like to ask you, what is the ratio of men to women in a group? Okay, or what is the ratio of girls to boys in a classroom? Okay, now ratio, sorry about that, ratio, you normally use this sign here, the colon sign, to separate the number. Okay, so even though this is in English, you can also use it for ratio. So this is another mathematical symbol. So here, what it says is 5:2. Whatever they are trying to refer to. I'm just giving you some examples of how we write ratios. There, 4:3:1, 2:5:8. Okay, so this is an example of how we write ratios. Okay, now let's have a quick look at this. So a pancake content says you need 155 grams to 500 ml of water. So that you have the thing in the box which you've bought from the shop, but they are saying to you that you need to add 500 milligrams of water when you get home, so that you can have the right mixture and to have the right product. Okay, if you put more than this or less than this, you might not get what they think you should get. Okay, so you have to follow what is on the box, the instruction on the box, and then put your answer in the simplest form. So you are going to do a ratio. So you need 155 grams of the quantity in the box. In the whole box is 155, but you need to add 500 ml of water to make your mixture. Okay, so that you can fry it and get the desired texture. Now, the easiest way to do this is to divide 155 by 5. So if you divide 155 by 5, straight away you get 31 grams. 500 times 5 divided by 5, you get 100 milligrams. That is the simplest form. Okay, you can also decide to half it, okay, which is the longest one, and then divide by 5, because these are multiples of 5, and you still get this. As long as, so now the ratio is 31 grams is to 100 milligrams. Okay, so assuming you don't want to use the whole quantity, and if you mix it, maybe you're on your own and you can't eat all of that, so you can decide to weigh 31 grams, add 100 ml of water, and then do one single pancake for yourself for breakfast instead of using the whole content. So in that sense, you can use it 5 times. I hope I'm making sense. But assuming you have a family of 5 or 4, and you know that when you bake all that, it will be eaten, then you can go ahead and do this quantity and add 500 milligrams of water. But assuming you are on your own and you don't need that much food for breakfast anyway. So you can divide it into 5 portions. So 31 grams. And then you add 100 mils of water. And then you still have, so it means you can store it and then use it for 4 other times. I hope I'm making sense. Let's look at our last example for the day on ratio. Okay, so a juice concentrate, okay, like Vimto or orange juice or apple juice or whatever juice you buy from the shop, says it's concentrated. So it says you need 200 mils of that, and you need to mix it with 700 mils of water. So assuming you are in the summer and you're expecting some kids in your house, okay, so you can mix this quantity with 700 mils of water, which can help up to 7 people if you're in the summer and it's hot. But assuming you don't need that much, what would you do? You can reduce it to the simplest form and then take smaller quantity of that. Okay, so write ratio in simplest form. So the concentrate in the bottle is 200 ml. You need, the bottle says if you take 200 ml, then you need to add 300 mils of water. This is very straightforward. So if I divide 200 by 100, I'm going to get 2. And if I divide 700 by 100, I'm going to get 7. So what I need here is 2 mils of concentrate to 7 mils of water, and that should be fine. If maybe you are diabetic, maybe you can add a few mils to make it less sweet. But apart from that, this is what it says. But remember, it is in mils, so don't forget to put your mil sign there. So what you are going to do is add your mils and your mils. Okay, so the ratio is 2:7 in the simplest form, because the question says we should put the answer in the simplest form. But remember, it's 2 mils to 7 mils of water, 2 mils of the concentrate to 7 mils of water. Okay, I hope I've made some sense to you. Okay, watch the video, think about it, go around your house, look for some of the things you have, like making cake recipes and stuff, and just make sense of what we've learned. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next lesson.